Well, I think we're live. All right, let's get up all the stuff we got to get up here. Make sure it's all good. Interesting. All right. Got that one going. Let's see here. Bear with me, folks, as this is the first stream. So we're going to try and get this working and see how it turns out. There is that. Yes. Wow, you really need like another monitor for this. You have one. Tricky. Let's just. All right, let's just do it. This is day one. Day one. 0 customers, 0 revenue, $0. If you're just tuning in for the first time, and you probably are because this is day one, then you should know that this channel is going to bring probably a lot of things about programming because we're going to build shit together. We're going to push it live and we're going to sell it. We're going to see what happens. You know, you got to sell stuff. It's the only way to make money. So we're going to sell it. And if it looks like I'm sitting inside of my kitchen, it's because I kind of am. So where you get a lot of streamers these days, they're probably in their nice little fancy living rooms with all their super awesome lighting, you know, the Technicolor blue screens, gamers that you get all that. You're not going to get that here. Because this stream is coming to you from inside a van. Because I have been doing van life for about 4.5 years now. And that means that it's going to come with a lot of different things that usually you don't probably get in a normal stream. For starters, this entire van is off grid. So we're talking, you know, no power other than what we get from our solar panels, which is pretty sick because we're going to be doing a lot of AI stuff in here, and you're going to see what it's like to run AI in a low power environment. Okay. So let's see here. I've been trying to think about, you know, where do you start with something like this? Where you could spend eternity really planning, thinking about, you know, oh, the first video's got to launch hard, it's got to be sick, it's got to have all the things. Well, guess what? I just started this video, started this live stream, and I'm literally talking to an empty room. I mean, there's nobody even in here. So that's kind of strange. But, you know, a lot of times I'm out in the woods. My van's just parked out here in the woods, and there's nobody around for miles. So it's kind of like you're talking to nobody anyway. Oh, on that note, again, this thing's going to get interrupted because I am in a mobile moving van that has to go different places, right? I mean, we're talking like pretty much spend all my time between Denver and the West Coast. Let's just call it Denver to the West Coast is my backyard. And, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of isolation. So it's kind of cool to be building shit. But at the same time, you know, I kind of miss being in office sometimes. Kind of miss the interaction daily with your coworkers, spitballing ideas, working on stuff together, doing really awesome things, working with really, really smart people. Those were some good years, you know what I'm saying? But now, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, it is all you. I mean, it's all you, you just go and you do what you want to do. Uh but yeah, you're going to get a lot of stuff from this channel. So, let's just like bring it back to van life. Most of the time I travel around with a like nomadic community of other van lifers. So, you might get an inside look into what real nomad van life is. Um, I also share this van with another person. So if you find that my girlfriend is climbing over the back of me here because I'm sitting in the middle of the van, that's probably gonna happen. This thing's gonna get interrupted. I mean, I'm sure there's streamers out there that have kids and they probably interrupt it. But people got families, and that's just the way this is gonna go. So, try to think what else. What else should you know about this stream? I might put out videos. I don't know. I don't really like doing editing. I actually recorded building this entire van. It took me 9 months to do. Uh, I bought this van on a whim. Actually, traded my Tesla for it. It was completely empty. And then I went out and spent. I actually I sold everything I had ever owned on Facebook Marketplace in 2 days. Got rid of everything. If someone came by looking at a couch, I gave them my entire living room set for a few $100. I mean, it was just get rid of everything as fast as you can because I needed to start building. Uh, I guess my philosophy for probably this stream and doing van life and doing a lot of these things is start before you're ready. So if you go back and you look at the beginning of the stream, I didn't even know how the chat worked in this thing. So yeah, I guess we really started before I was ready on that one. Let's see what else is going on. Hoping the audio isn't too bad with this because, well, since we're in a van, we have fans going, circulating air. We have an air conditioner running on 12 volt, so it can be a little loud. And yeah, hopefully that's not going to mess up the microphone too much. I think I've been able to, isolate the audio on this hopefully pretty good. But the machine learning models that are coming out for this stuff are pretty impressive. So if I get some time, I'll probably stitch one of those in with like Black Hole or something, and we'll get this audio cleaned up real nice. But in the meantime, you just got to remind me to talk into the microphone so that it picks up nicely. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. So I think my plan for this channel is probably going to be let's build some shit, let's ship stuff, and let's make some money. Um, my background is in programming. I think a lot of people have programming background, but there's a lot of people vibe coding these days that don't have any programming background, which is pretty cool, I gotta say. I had a lot of people that I mentored over the years doing coding, and You know, it's pretty sweet that you can sit down and you can just chat with this stuff and it builds right in front of you. I was playing with the Codex Annotate tool the other day, and that, I gotta tell you, that just feels magical. Absolutely magical. Think about it. Like you click on something. You're not even a front end designer, right? You don't know React, you don't know HTML or CSS or how to make anything look good. You just click on something and say what you want it to look like. And you don't even have to be good at describing what you want it to look like anymore. Right? Like early on with this AI stuff, you had to be very specific in your words, but the thinking mode that we have now is just impressive. I mean, it is impressive. Like, oh, I want this font bigger. Oh, this font doesn't match. The colors don't match. Give me some different color schemes. You know, that's the kind of stuff I think we're going to get into here. We're going to vibe code some stuff. We're going to burn some serious tokens, let me tell you. I'm also really, really into running AI locally. Um, my background was in machine learning actually, and the fact that we can run these systems today from a van, holy cow! It's gonna be sick. All right, we're gonna do some cool shit. Let me tell you, we're gonna do some cool stuff here. Um, yeah, it's kind of weird chatting to the ether. I think it's gonna be a lot better when we can get people in here talking back and forth because I'm pretty good at answering questions. I think I love helping people out. Um, but a lot of this might just be some music and us vibe coding some shit together. I think back. Let me just like take you back for a minute. So I'm in high school, and you're like walking through the halls of high school every day. And I don't know if you were one of these people, but I certainly was. I was an uber nerd, right? Like my entire high school was spent like the tech wing of our high school, which was actually just like one lab with a bunch of computers in it. I hope that this video isn't too motiony at the moment because there's like a monsoon going on outside right now. Apparently, it's rocking my whole house, aka this van. So let's let's uh let's go back, right? So I'm in high school and I'm walking around the halls, and I was kind of like always seeing the world from this like point of view of, hey, why doesn't this product have this thing? Or what if this thing existed? Why didn't they create that? It was always, why didn't they create that? I guess is what I was always thinking. And I don't know if you're one of these people. Maybe you were. But I think that over time, I realized I could be one of those people, like the theys that create the things. So, like everybody, I've bought a lot of domains, a whole lot of domains. Got a lot of ideas. We got a little, you know, entity set up, ready to go. We got a Hetzner server set up, ready to go. This is day one. This is gonna be day one. We're gonna build some shit. We're gonna take all those ideas that flow through my mind, and we're gonna build them and we're gonna ship them. And I think for the first time we can do this. For the first time you can be a solo developer and you can just build whatever you want and ship whatever you want. I mean, we're not doing moonshots, okay? This isn't Silicon Valley. We're not raising millions of dollars or billions of dollars. We're not going to go out and try and find some investors. I'm certainly not going to try and turn around and sell these products unless it's giving me a total headache and someone else wants to run it, then maybe. But that's not the idea here. The idea is to get that creative expression out, right? Like, have you ever been sitting there and you're using a SaaS product or another app, and you're like, man, I wish this thing had this feature. And you track down the owner of it, right? And you say, hey, can you implement this thing? I could really use this. But your voice kind of gets lost in the ether, right? You have this idea, this feature that you really, really want to build, or you really need, but maybe you're the only one, right? Like this product is being used by a lot of different people, a lot of different, maybe some big companies, and your tiny contribution to the bottom line of that product is not moving the needle enough for them to go implement that thing that you need. So what do? Well, you just kind of lived with it in the past. You just had to say, sorry, guess I have to use this product, and I have to use it the way that the creator intended. We all lived in that Apple world for the last decade where they told us what it was that we were allowed to want and to need from our phones. We still live in that world to some degree, but not anymore. I think with the advent of LLMs, with the AI that we have today, all it takes is a good product manager, right? Someone to sit down, describe in detail what they want from this product, and then play with the thing. I mean, like the AI, you basically you draw up a document, a spec, and you say, I want it to do XYZ. Go build me a roadmap, right? The thing can actually build the roadmap. You can chat back and forth. You can figure out, what are the things you're not even thinking of. You can have swarms of different agent models, put all of this stuff together in one place. And it just goes. I mean, it's amazing, right? Like I used to have to manage a team of 30 engineers to get a product to the point where I can put something out today, like hours after designing the spec, the thing can be built and working and deployed. And I think that's the idea here. That's what we're going to go with. We're going to say, here's something I want. Let's go build it. Let's go ship it. And let's see, let's really see what the overhead is of actually doing this. Is it as tough as they make it out to be? Are I think there's a lot of AI naysayers right now, and I was certainly one of them early on. I mean, early on, the models could not do what we wanted them to do, right? I mean, you would tell it to do something, it would write some code, and it would break the rest of your app. But we have GPT 5.5, we have whatever version of Opus is out there now. Everyone jokes about the short-lived Fable that we had, but even more I think impressive right now is that we have GLM, right? GLM 5.2 you can run in your own house, and this thing will crank on features for days and days and days. Now it doesn't do that all by its own. You have to set up some tooling around it, which we will go over on this channel, and we will tweak live. I mean, this stuff breaks all the time because it improves. Like they come out with updates for all this stuff, the harnesses, the models. Stuff is gonna break, and we're gonna fix it, and we're gonna deploy it, and we're just gonna make these things keep grinding. I got like 40 domains, all right, that we're gonna build out, and we're gonna actually get them done. I think that is going to be the goal here. Is hopefully I stop buying domains. I think I'm up to like $2,000 or $3,000 a year in registration fees. It's insanity. So, what's our first project going to be? You know, I actually only got this idea to start streaming like 2 days ago. And in that time, I've been kind of like racking my head. I've had some AI agents going and building stuff in the background for the last few days, um, just to see what we could get done in a day or two or three or weeks or months. Uh, because you know what, we got to build stuff and we got to ship it. I mean, that's the thing. It's like if you look at all these products out there, you look at this whole AI ecosystem. I think there's a bunch of things that go on with engineers. For a long time it was all about, hey, let's make this code the best we could possibly make it, right? Like we got to make it so that it's modular, so that other teams of engineers can plug in. And we got microservices, and we went back to monoliths, and then we got microservices again. And we went from mainframe computers where every single user used one computer. Everyone's got to have their own little, you know, personal computer. Then we go back to big servers, which are kind of like mainframes again, except this time we wrapped them with VPSs. It's virtual private servers. And then we had to come out with new CPUs just to like do all of this virtualization properly on the CPU. I think that in every engineer's mind comes a level of complexity because it makes the thing that they built seem worth it. And that was hard for me at first when I started using AI too. I would start using AI and I would go, you know what? This thing just cranked out a bunch of code that would have taken me a month to write. And I don't feel worthy of shipping this thing. I don't feel worthy of it. Like, if I were to get in this code today, I don't know every line. I don't know how it works. You know, I mean, I read through the code. It looks good. You can do some sanity checks. You can, you know, sit there and correct it so that it does things exactly the way you would do things. But that's like, that's I don't even know. I'm sure there's like a saying about pushing a boulder uphill or like, you know, running into the wind or something, but that's just going across the grain. Why would you do that? These models have a certain way that they think. They build things the way they want to build them. And when you throw another model that's been trained differently into a different model's code base, it's going to wreak havoc on it. It always does because it thinks about things differently. We're going to get into all that, right? I mean, we're going to see that. We're gonna play around with this stuff. We're going to get into all that. Um, and I'm excited. I'm excited for how that's going to go. Um, but I think the thing to keep in mind, and you guys are going to have to keep me honest about this too, is stop introducing complexity into things and just ship the MVP, right? Uh, I used to do these hackathons when I was in college, and you would show up with a team of few of your friends, and then you have to like build something in 24 hours, which is a lot of fun when you're younger, right? Like you stay up for 24 hours or 48 hours, whatever the hackathon is. Wow, my voice is going to have to get used to talking all the time. Okay. So you show up, you build this really cool thing, or you see the teams that wanted to build everything. And they get up there and they spent the whole weekend on their login system, right? Like, oh, our demo starts with us logging in. No, okay. You gotta figure out that one cool feature, right? Like going back to, I'm using this product and it doesn't have this thing that I want. I've tried to talk to the maintainers, or I've tried to talk to, the whoever's building this thing, get them to implement the feature. And sometimes they do, right? Sometimes they're like, heck yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to build it. A lot of times what happens though is It just doesn't happen. And so I think that's an opportunity for you to say, what's the one cool feature? What is the thing that I need? Maybe I don't build a whole login system for it. Maybe I don't, you know, wrap it in an entire SaaS product and wire up Stripe and all of that. But what is the one cool feature that I want to get out of this product? That's the question. The answer is it's that one cool feature, and then you go build it, and then you go use it for yourself. And if you build things for yourself first, then you can work out the bugs and you can find the things that you need. And if you find it useful for yourself, then maybe you wrap Stripe around it. Maybe you wrap a users and, if you get some business customers, you wrap some enterprise organization user settings with permissions and all that baloney. Which gives me an idea. Maybe we should just build that as a foundation. So we know that we're going to go out and we're going to build a bunch of different things. Is there a way that we can build a foundational layer so that as we build our one thing, we can just slap the foundational layer on it and they all get that, right? They all get the login, they all get the user interface, they get the team management, they get the sending emails and signups and forgot passwords and Stripe integrations and charging and plans and prices. That's stuff that you have to implement over and over and over again. And you burn a lot of tokens probably if you're having your AI do this over and over every time. Maybe I'll build that. It could be the one cool feature. That's an idea. Maybe we build an app and we just pack it with all the features of all the things that we've always wanted or we've ever maybe we need in the future. What would an app look like that? What would that look like? I know let's see, in my career, is your project, the number of projects that you build grows, right? Comes with this like mental complexity. And I think what's happening to a lot of SaaS product builders out there, and I think there's this whole like charge once for a product movement that we're kind of circling back around to. Um, I feel like there's an operational complexity with each one of these. So if I have an AI build some whole new project, now I have a whole nother project that I have to monitor. I gotta have a whole nother Stripe account. I have maybe a server that's running. When you're running a server, it comes with things like I gotta manage, you know, is the thing live? Are my backups working? Do I have canaries constantly reporting back? Do I have, am I running out of disk space on that server? Is the server overloaded? Is the hard drive filling up? Is the database, the drive the database is running on filling up? Do I need to scale up my server because I have more user load coming in? There's like all these signals, right, that are coming in constantly, and we have to figure out how do we manage all those, right? Like if I'm a solarpreneur and I'm out here and I'm building products, I think that you're gonna get to this place where we have to figure out how do we manage that? Because I want to be off building stuff, right? Like I want to take every new idea, I want to sling it out there. I want to throw it against the AI and I want to see what that AI comes up with. And then I'm going to play with it like a product manager would, right? I'm going to find the wrinkles. I'm going to find the things that need to be done. Okay. Okay. I got an idea for him in here. I got a few ideas. One, think I'm going to start with a foundational layer. Foundational layer is going to be all the shit that I don't want to ever have to implement ever again. And that's logins, passwords, emails, managing users, just let's call it foundation. I'm going to call it foundation. That's what I'm going to build. I'm going to build the foundation first. I normally wouldn't do this. I would recommend that against most people that are building something, do not start here. Start with that one cool feature, the one thing you want to build for yourself. Build that. But I've been doing this long enough that I know where the complexity comes and where you get bogged down eventually as an entrepreneur or as an engineer managing teams or someone just working on a lot of different projects, which, you look at any senior engineer, any mid-level engineer, you got junior engineers nowadays that are being tasked with 5 or 6 different projects at the same time that they have to maintain and keep running. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to build a foundation, number one. Once we have a foundation set, then we can just start shipping products. We're going to get a foundation and we're going to ship stuff. Now, I think this next part, y'all going to think I'm crazy. Let's see. In my career, I've done everything from JavaScript, Ruby, Scala, Java, Erlang, C, C++, Python, Go, Rust, all HTML, and all the different flavors that came out of that. I've done a lot of different languages, and I'm guessing that AI is going to be pretty darn good at a few of them, especially typed ones, because they get a nice feedback system when they break something. At least I think that was really important for them early on. But I don't want to do that. If I had to look at where I think AI is going, I think it's going to be able to know without the types. I think the types are a nice signal now for AIs that needed more reinforcement learning training to get better. But I think that languages that don't require a lot of verbosity to get shit done, that is going to be our motto. Get shit done. It's going to be one of them. I think these languages that require that verbosity are in the long term. I could be totally wrong here, right? I could be wrong. I'm making a prediction. We're going to come back and we're going to probably review this and say, you were wrong. You were wrong. Oh, we might say you're right too. So I'm thinking what's going to happen is we're going to have like a token apocalypse pretty soon. Models are going to get so good. RAM prices are going to get so high. There's going to be this world of the haves and have-nots in AI, and it's the people with the hardware to run them in their house are going to be the haves. Now, thing is, you need a lot of RAM to run a really good model. I think like a GLM 5.2, you're going to run that at home on full bore, you probably need about a terabyte of RAM, maybe like 700 gigs of VRAM. It's like RAM on your video cards. Or unified RAM if you're using Apple stuff. So I'll get into explaining all that at some point. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to get to a point where generating tokens is going to get very, very costly. I think it's all being subsidized right now heavily. Uh, and when these companies go public and they have an obligation to their shareholders, they will stop giving away thousands and thousands of dollars worth of tokens on a $200 a month plan. You can burn like $7,000 to $10,000 or more on OpenAI's $200 a month plan. Like if you paid for those tokens straight up, easily could burn $5,000 to $7,000. I bet. So where am I going with all this? You're not going to like it, but I think I'm going to build this foundation in Ruby. Ruby on Rails. Yep, I know what you're thinking. You are crazy. That language is outdated. Go use Rust. Go use Go. I think it's going to make a comeback. And I think that's because that language can get shit done. Ruby can get shit done. Rails was always this thing where you kind of had to, play in the sandbox. Like don't fling the sand outside of the sandbox. You're never gonna get to upgrade to the new stack, or you're gonna break something in a way that the engineers working on it aren't familiar with, that outside of your model view controller, service presenter, whatever patterns. Um, but I think with AI, it's going to be easier. I think people are going to look at their code base, just ask it what, they want, and you're going to get to a point where it's just going to build it if we're not already there, right? And the thing about Ruby that a lot of people don't realize is that you can do a lot with a very little amount of code. I think Python's kind of that way too. That's why the data science world picked it up when I don't even know, is data science still a career? Imagine with the advent of AI sifting through data, do people like sit there and do that anymore? I don't know. That's pretty crazy. Because that was only 5 years ago. That career was booming. Maybe it still is. If you're a data scientist and you're watching this, drop me a comment and let me know how that field has changed. I'm really interested to know, what does your day to day look like now that you're not doing a whole lot of ETL, data scrubbing, throwing stuff into your data lakes, moving around into your data warehouses. Maybe you're still doing all that. Maybe you're not just like in Databricks Spark anymore. You're actually sitting there slinging Rust through your AI and it's just creating pipelines like crazy and you guys are getting stuff done. I don't know. Let me know. Drop me a comment. Let me know. I'm really interested. I will respond. So let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna build that foundation in Ruby and Rails. We'll see how that goes. You don't necessarily need a compiler to be your feedback loop to AI. If you think about it, tests, right? Have you ever heard of test-driven development, right? So you write your test first, then you write your code, and once the tests pass, then you've like properly implemented the thing in your code. I don't recommend anyone do that. I've tried it. It's never worked for me. You always end up fixing the test because you implement the code differently. But I think there's a feedback mechanism there where if you have tests, you have guardrails, right, for the AI. The AI can now like go and validate the things that it's done. You have to have this like, it's how you train a deep artificial neural network. You pass some parameters in. There's a whole bunch of activations and you give it feedback and you back propagate all the way back, fixing all the weights and biases as you go. And it's the same thing. The AI outputs some code. You have a test on the other end that runs and verifies that what the AI outputted as code is running and working. So yeah, I think it could work. I think we just have to have a really good way of making sure that we have guardrails in place, right? Like we have a framework in place for the AI to build in its sandbox and know that it's writing the right code. And I think that's going to be things like tests, manual validation, right? So if we can get our AI in there running shit in the browser, pulling it up, clicking on stuff, making sure that the features are working, that it's not breaking things. That's the biggest thing. If you ever worked in a big team, if you're an engineer, or even if you're not an engineer, let me explain something to you. Writing tests is one of the most impactful things you can do. And I know it's hard because as a junior engineer, I never ever wanted to write tests. Like I just wanted to write the thing, ship it out the door, you know, push it out to the server, and if it broke, our users would tell us and we go fix it. And maybe sometimes I kind of still do that, but I think that having tests are good because they help you iterate fast. So if we get enough tests in there and we get these guardrails in place, I think what's going to happen is the the AI is going to run the tests and it's going to see maybe that it broke something, right? Like if we tell an AI, hey, go into this code base, add this new feature. Okay, it adds the new feature. It goes slinging code everywhere. Maybe it changes some variables and breaks some stuff in our code base. And then I tell it, here's a goal. And you have to go validate that code that you just ran by running all these tests. And if any of them fail, you broke something because they were all passing before. Now we have a feedback loop. Now I don't have to go and try out the new feature. I don't have to go and review every line of code because I know that I have good tests in place and it allows me to iterate on that code base rapidly. And then I think maybe we'll add some other guardrails in, right? So if we have code coverage, that could probably do it. If when the AI runs its tests, we could have a test that checks how many new lines of code did you add to this code base? And as we run all the tests, we can mark every single line of code that gets run. Okay. And if we get to the end of running all the tests and there's a whole bunch of lines of code that were not exercised as part of running those tests, then we know that's new code that doesn't have tests. And we'll have it go write those tests then. Then it'll have to write it if it wants to satisfy the fact that all the tests must pass. So yeah, we'll get that in there so that we have guardrails, right? We're gonna build a sandbox for the AI to play in. And that's gonna allow us to move quickly. Trying to think what else. Yeah, I think that's the plan. So this stream, I spent a whole lot of time talking, planning, thinking about what I want to do. I'm going to go back and probably just have my AI look at the transcript and tell me what we talked about. I might go build some of those things because I feel like a lot of that's going to be real boring on camera. I don't know. Maybe I'll build it on camera. Be interesting. I feel like people aren't going to really want to watch that. Like if I watch a demo during a hackathon and someone's demoing their login to me, I'm like, dude, come on. Like that's not the cool feature. Show me the one cool feature, you know? So maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just have it build it. We'll go. Start building on top of that stuff. think I do need something though to organize all these projects. That might be one of our first projects. I want to call it the Everything app, but that's already taken, so I'm not doing that. What if we just took one cool feature and we added on another feature and another feature and another feature, and we just kept going? We did all this with AI. Features, AI. Be interesting. I don't know. I kind of wish we had some people in here watching this stream at this point so I get some feedback on these things, but I'm sure we will as we go. And then we'll build the things, you know. If we need something, we'll build it. We'll build it live and we'll ship it live. And when it breaks live, we'll go and we'll fix it. See, I think my homework is to get that foundation layer done. That's going to be boring. That's not going to be the cool stuff. The stuff that we need to do today, which is manage all the AI projects. Because if I just start slinging AI projects right now, I think what's going to happen is I'm going to get bogged down managing all these projects, the overhead of all of that, right? Like, I don't have a team of engineer. I can't like build a new project, throw a bunch of engineers at it and say, hey, you go manage this thing while I go build the next one, right? Like, that's the idea of what we hope the AI is going to do. I need an AI to manage all of my one cool features. That's what I need. At least that's what I'm going to need. I guarantee it. What do you guys think? That sound good? AI features. Okay. Well, I think I don't really have much more to say today other than I really hope that you enjoy the journey that we are about to start together. And, you know, I think it's going to be cool. I'm probably going to put a bunch of different uh, playlists up on like the YouTube and stuff. So the YouTube channel, I'm guessing, will probably have like a coding playlist. We'll probably have a van life playlist. You know, drop a comment. Let me know. Would you want to see what it's like, you know, being an engineer, living in a van, traveling with a nomadic community? I can guarantee sometimes it's just going to be a bunch of dirtbags sitting around a fire having a good time. I shouldn't say dirtbags. I think a lot of people in the nomad community call themselves dirtbags sometimes because they're out here and like, you know, when you live in a van, you got limited water and you're not showering every day, right? You sometimes go 2, 3 days or longer without a shower. Now, I got a shower over here. Like it's right off camera. You can't see it, but that wall right there is really hard to do. That wall is actually the other side of the shower wall. So I don't know where I was going there. Other than, yeah, van life is interesting, and I'm hoping to give people, you know, a real life look into it. I did not get into van life because I wanted to save money or anything like that. I think a lot of people get into van life for a whole lot of different reasons. Uh, but once you're in it and you're traveling with people, it's like no matter where you go, right? I think, how can I say this? You know, a tourist, when they go to these different towns, they remain an outsider throughout their whole visit. But a van lifer is just part of the local scene from the moment they arrive. And it's because you have your community with you. Like you're not just there to get in and get out, you know. A lot of times you spend time in that place, you spend money, you make friends, you get to know the locals, and we just live in all over, which is a lot easier to do in the United States, west of Denver. And I'll get into a lot of that probably in some future streams. So stay tuned for all that. Stay tuned for what it's like to be a nomad living in a van. I'll probably give you some serious rundowns of what the costs are of living in a van, what the costs of building out vans are. You can do it a whole lot of different ways. Um, a lot of people are going like truck campers nowadays too. It's pretty cool. Um, you know, how do you power all the computers and the machinery while living in a van, air conditioners, all that stuff? Surprisingly, you can power a lot of stuff on solar power. Like, I don't think people realize, how much some of the electronics in their house just running 24/7 actually use. And if you just unplug it, even when you're not using it, the amount of power you save is enough to live in a van. I got like 5 Raspberry Pis, you know, Apple MacBook Pro running, and air conditioner running, fans running, lights on, camera action. We got it all in here, and it's all running off solar power and batteries. So yeah, if you're thinking about getting into van life, drop me a comment, subscribe to this channel, let me know, and maybe I'll do like a series on that. I actually recorded the entire build out of this van, but just never posted it because I really didn't know what I was doing, and I recorded the whole thing in portrait mode. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get some AI that'll get to the point eventually where it fills in. Like I think the new iPhone update has the ability to do this thing where it like expands the image scene. But I'm going to need to be able to do this for 9 months of video content, raw video content that I have recorded that I just never put out there. Uh, I literally like carried my phone around with me, recording every step of this build. And this van, so I've been in this van for 4.5 years, little over 4 years now, right? This thing is held up like a tank, but it's a vehicle. That's the thing you got to remember about van life. You are living in a vehicle, and vehicles have wear and tear on them. No matter which way you sling it, I mean, this is a diesel, uh, but no matter how you do it, you're going to end up to a point where you get to 100,000, 200,000 miles on an engine. That thing starts to go, right? I think that's where the truck campers have a lot of benefit, is they can just take their camper and put it on the back of another truck. Whereas with this van, once this thing goes, I'm toast. This is my home. This has been my home for 4.5 years. I have lived in this thing, wired it up exactly the way I want it, built the counter heights to exactly my height. I custom built every square inch of this thing. And so it's going to be a sad day when that engine goes. And I can tell you right now, I've been driving around lately and I can feel this thing going. It's just, it's like, it's feeling its age. It's creaking. And by the way, I've replaced the suspension on this thing so many times over. When you got a really heavy van, you gotta keep up with tires. You're burning through tires. You're burning through suspension. You're changing fluids more often just because of the wear tear you're putting on this thing, living in it, carrying around everything. So yeah, this van's probably going to go soon. I imagine at some point through this journey of me streaming on here, we're going to see a different background because I'm going to have to get a new rig at some point. So I think my goal for this whole thing, because we're coming down to the wire here, okay, on the life of this vehicle. This whole thing, my goal, my personal goal, I'm sharing it with you guys on this journey, is to make enough money to buy a new van to live in. I'm not looking for a fancy apartment or a house or anything like that because I'm a nomad at heart. I want to go and travel. I want to be out in the woods. My girlfriend loves rock climbing, and we like to do hiking and just get out into nature, touch grass. I think that for now, the goal of this channel is going to be building products with AI, shipping them, managing them, and going through financials, marketing, and programming, just doing it all out in the open until we can get a new rig. Now, I almost don't even want to put this out there. I don't even know if I want to put this out there. If I work really hard, I think we could do something like a truck camper. What would be awesome, and I think sometimes when you're doing a startup, you got to have something that gets you out of bed every day. The days that don't you were up late, you had some shitty day the day before, the days that you just really don't want to sit down and work, you got to have a stretch goal. It's not enough to just have a lifestyle business and say, I want to make enough to live and to eat. You got to have the pie in the sky stretch goal. I would really, I think I would really love to do like one of those military trucks, or maybe I'm done with my building days. I don't know. If that's the case, my pie in the sky stretch goal is to just travel around in like an Earth Roamer type truck. I think that would be sick. Imagine that. So maybe that'll be my pie in the sky stretch goal. Thing that gets me out of bed every single day. All right. I'm going to set that. Goal 1, get our first customer. Goal 2, get something like a new van or camper, because this thing's back is breaking. And goal 3, hey, if we can do it, let's get like a badass rig. That'd be kind of cool to be streaming from a badass rig in the middle of nowhere, you know? I wish I had built this thing with a huge ass window behind me so y'all could see the beautiful views I'm seeing all the time. Gives me an idea. All right, probably do some outdoor streaming. That would be pretty sick. I don't think there's a lot of streamers out there that are out in the wilderness streaming every day. Maybe there are. I'm going to have to do some research and find out. Okay. I got a lot of homework to do. Last thing is, I don't think I'm going to be able to stream every day. I'm going to try. I'm going to try and stream my entire working day every time I'm sitting down working. I want to be streaming. It might just be me playing some music, writing some code, interacting with you guys. I'm going to try and do it. I'm probably not going to be able to do it every day because we do travel. You know, sometimes we're like in one place and our friends are 5 hours away. And so we just book it 5 hours to the next spot. We kind of chase the weather. Um, we're looking for cold, we're looking for warm. We just kind of go where the weather is. So that sometimes a nice 5 hour, 10-hour drive, whatever it may be, And that just burns a day. It's going to burn a day here and there. So I don't think I'm going to be able to stream every single day. I don't know. Maybe y'all would be interested in seeing the beautiful roads across this country. I have a feeling there's a lot of people that are in the place where they grew up, or you're in the west coast of the United States, you're in the east coast, or you're in Europe, you're somewhere else. Like, I can imagine that your worldview, because this was mine when I was growing up. My worldview was, this country is so big you couldn't possibly drive across it, which is crazy because that is not true. Like, you can drive across the whole United States in like a few days or a week if you take it slow. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get like a camera mount and stream some of the drives, because there are some seriously beautiful drives in this country. You ever get to go to like the Tetons or something? You driving through there and you see those mountains for the first time. Oh my God. You know, there's some drives that you do in this country that are just unbelievable. There's like this strip between St. George, Utah and Vegas. And you're going through this canyon that's just unbelievable. And it's in a highway. I recommend y'all get out there and see some of this country if you live in it. Go see the country that you live in. Um, but yeah, back to my point. Probably not going to stream every day just because there's going to be drive days, and you know, if people want to see the drive days, maybe we'll air that. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'm not going to commit to anything yet. The only thing I'm going to commit to is building stuff with AI, vibe coding the hell out of it, shipping stuff. Oh my God, it's gonna be glorious. We're gonna do this. We are gonna build some stuff. We're gonna get some stuff out there, and we are going to make, we're gonna make some money. We're gonna get to our goals, and we are going to get to this stretch goal. And I hope that you learned something along the way going through this journey with me. I think like I'm a great resource for information, and I'm hoping this channel is going to be a great resource for information. I hope you get lots of ideas, and you know, I'm going to build some stuff, and I can guarantee there's going to be some features that I build, and you're going to be like, oh, I wish it had that one cool feature, and I'm just not going to have the time to build it. So I hope that you watching this channel will go out and build that one cool feature, because I'm going to go through how to do all this. So we're going to do it together. So you should be able to learn how to do this. That's going to be sick. I think that's going to be the coolest thing about this. All the people that are going to be able to go out there and have the confidence to just start before they're ready. With that, let's do it. Let's start before we're ready.